So somebody was saying they like my shirt. Nothing scares me. Yeah, it's faded a bit, but yeah, my wife was from Odessa, in Ukraine, back when it was the Soviet Union, and yeah, nothing scares me. Now, here in America, the corporate news is always telling us about all these terrible attacks that Russia committed on Ukraine, and they are terrible. But they give us the impression that Ukraine is losing, and maybe that's where Trump got the idea that Ukraine has no cards. Ukraine has all the cards. Ukraine has been the most innovative army on any battlefield in the world. Ukraine is why people are using drones in warfare now. They perfected it. They can like drop a grenade into an open hatch of a tank from hundreds of feet up with perfect accuracy every time. And even more, there's sea drones, and now they have underwater drones, submerged drones, and now they have battlefield drones, like robots on the battlefield. And it seems like our media tries to give us the impression that Ukraine is losing, and they are not losing. They are not. I follow it very closely. So be sure, follow RFU on YouTube, reporting from Ukraine. I left the screen open so you could see their little logo and stuff, so it'll be easy to find. They're on YouTube. I follow it so my wife doesn't have to, and I give her the highlights. Hopefully we'll be seeing, why nothing scares me soon. Marta is part of the WTH News Network, of course, but is yet to post her first story. Well, actually, on the old channel that we hadn't published on YouTube, the WTH News Network, you can see a couple with Marta from way back when. But Marta is getting prepared. Marta believes in being way more prepared than I do. I have something to say and I hit record, but that's because I do that all of the damn time. That's just who I am. So we'll be seeing Marta soon, and then hopefully we're going to figure out a weekly news roundup thing. But if you like our take on the news, which is different than other people's take, it's a Gen X take, for one thing. Please like, subscribe, follow, share, all of those things. If you're already subscribed, thank you for subscribing. You can still like and share and all that stuff. It helps out a lot. I just went over to RFU today and just got a clip from a day ago. But every day I hear good news for Ukraine on the battlefield that our media doesn't seem to cover, because they want us to have the impression that Ukraine is losing and needs our help. Now, they may need some help, but they're getting plenty more help from Europe now that we pissed off everybody in Europe. But we had a treaty from, I believe, 94, I believe, I forget what they call it right now, the Oslo Accords, I believe it was. Ukraine, after the fall of the Soviet Union, had the largest nuclear arsenal in Europe, because the Russians just, left them there. And in order to get Ukraine to give up their nuclear weapons, the Western governments, NATO specifically, made an agreement that we would support them and defend them if ever attacked by Russia. Because if they hadn't given up their nukes, they would never have been attacked by Russia. But as American history is rife with, we don't really follow treaties, especially once we got Trump in there. We sent a lot of money, sent a lot of weapons. That was not the treaty. The treaty was to defend them. Now, I certainly didn't want our boots on the ground in Ukraine, but that was the treaty. That's what the treaty called for. Boots on the ground from all those NATO countries and European countries that signed the treaty. That was what was required, and we did not do that. Here's a clip of just what was going on a day ago in one of the battlefields in Ukraine.
And reduce their constant drone attacks on the city. The initial phase of the Ukrainian plan involved striking Russian depots and command centers near the front that sustained the enemy aerial pressure. Drones from Ukraine's Venom drone unit targeted key Russian positions used by drone operators as storage sites and launch points, effectively striking the locations from which Russian drones were deployed and coordinated. Specialized drone-dropped munitions were used, including in one instance a modified TM62 mine fitted with stabilizing fins to enable aerial deployment. These actions were critical for the subsequent phases of the operation because they degraded Russia's drone reconnaissance and capabilities to strike back. By disrupting surveillance and targeting coordination, Ukrainian forces effectively denied the Russian situational awareness and precise fire support. The second phase involved Ukrainian FPV drones targeting boat crossings and reinforcement roads between the islands to isolate Russian units by cutting off their
And then we see the collapse of the Russian lines on the Dnipro River, which is a portion of Ukraine that's been fought about a lot because it was part of the Crimea that the Russians took back during, the end of Obama's reign. But check this clip out.
They don't have the reserves to support these positions. Overall, the Russian withdrawal underscores how sustained precision strikes and systematic targeting can shift the tactical balance in a battlefield where direct ground assault is not possible. If Ukraine maintains pressure on logistics, command nodes, and river crossings near Kherson, Russian positions along the Dnipro could become increasingly costly to defend, prompting them to withdraw more troops. This will help protect Kherson, as Russian forces will have a harder time striking the city.
Now, 6 months ago, on one of the battlefields between Ukraine and Russia, there was video of Russian troops riding into battle on horseback because they ran out of vehicles. Ukraine got so good at taking out vehicles with drones and precision artillery strikes. Ukraine, it's one shot, one kill. They fire at you with artillery or missile or something, they're going to hit it. You're going to hit what they aim for. Russia just fires indiscriminately to see, maybe they'll hit something. And that's why Russia's losing the war. They're running out of weapons, they're running out of men. And probably, I think it was about 4 months ago, there was this tale from a battlefield that the Ukrainians said that every second Russian soldier had a rifle and the other ones didn't and just charged into battle without a weapon. I don't know if you ever saw Enemy at the Gates. Enemy at the Gates is about Russia's stand against the Nazis towards the end of World War II, the battle for Stalingrad. And that is exactly where it got to in that movie. Most iconic opening scene of a movie. The soldiers are piling out towards the battlefield, and there's this guy on a bullhorn. He says, "The one with the rifle shoots. The one without the rifle follows the one with the rifle. When the one with the rifle gets killed, the one without the rifle picks up the rifle and shoots." They have already reached that stage 4 months ago on one battlefield. That was seen. The scene from Enemy at the Gates was happening in this battlefield. So don't piss on my head and tell me it's rain. I follow reporting from Ukraine. Follow them if you really want to know what's going on. This war is our responsibility, regardless what President Scumbag says. We made oaths. We signed treaties. Those don't just go away with every new president that comes along. Slava Ukraini, nothing scares me. My wife is Ukrainian. And you'll see her soon.